Bon après-midi, good afternoon, President Barroso, José Manuel. It's really a delight for me to be here today. Let me just begin by briefly recognizing the presence of a few of my Canadian colleagues, obviously Minister of International Trade, Ed Fast, Member of Parliament Gerald Keddy, our ambassador here to the European Union, David Plunkett, l'ambassadeur du Canada en France, Lawrence Cannon, and our High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Gordon Campbell. Mesdames et messieurs, j'ai aujourd'hui le grand plaisir d'annoncer que le Canada est parvenu avec l'Union européenne à une entente de principe sur un accord économique, commercial et global. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to announce today that Canada has reached an agreement in principle on a comprehensive economic and trade agreement with the European Union. Mes amis, c'est un grand moment. En effet, il s'agit de l'entente la plus importante jamais conclue par notre pays. C'est un gain historique pour le Canada. This is a big deal. Indeed, it is the biggest deal our country has ever made. This is a historic win for Canada. It means access for Canadian businesses to 500 million affluent customers, and thus to thousands of jobs for Canadians. I want to spend a moment elaborating on the scale of this for our country. Cette entente procure à l'économie canadienne l'accès à un marché qui est encore plus vaste que l'ALENA. This provides the Canadian economy with free trade access to a market that is bigger than NAFTA. And in scope, this agreement is, by far, the most ambitious trade partnership that Canada has ever negotiated, covering not just goods, but also services, labor mobility, investment, procurement, including subnational procurement, and many regulatory matters. Avec cet accord, le nombre de pays avec lesquels le Canada possède des accords de libre-échange va tripler, passant de 14 à 42. Nous donnons ainsi accès à une zone de libre-échange qui représente la moitié du marché mondial. With this agreement, the number of countries with which Canada has free trade agreements will triple, from 14 to 42, providing us free trade access to over half of the entire global marketplace. Depuis les années 70, les gouvernements canadiens qui se sont succédés ont voulu une entente de libre-échange avec l'Europe. Et aujourd'hui, nous pouvons finalement dire que c'est mission accomplie. It has been stated the stated desire of Canadian national governments since the 1970s to significantly broaden our trade relations beyond the United States and, most particularly, to secure such a relationship with Europe. This we have now achieved, and a potential for both our economies that measures in the billions of dollars. Of course, most importantly, both for Canadians and for Europeans, this agreement will help create good, well-paying jobs. On our side of the Atlantic, all regions and provinces stand to benefit. Que vous soyez un pêcheur au Canada Atlantique, un travailleur manufacturier en Ontario ou au Québec, ou un travailleur forestier dans l'Ouest canadien, vous profiterez inévitablement de l'augmentation des échanges commerciaux avec l'Europe. Whether you are a fisherman in Atlantic Canada, an industrial worker in Ontario or Quebec, a forester in Western Canada, increased trade with Europe will inevitably benefit you. When this agreement is in force, businesses that provide technical services in fields such as engineering, construction, architecture, and many others will have unprecedented access to the European market. Equally important, Canadian families will have greater access to European goods at a lower cost, as 98% of tariffs both ways will be removed immediately upon implementation of this agreement. So this agreement will benefit hardworking Canadians from coast to coast to coast, just as it will open doors to opportunities not yet imagined. Let me also just mention that Canada largely secured our objective of defending our system of supply management while also opening these markets, these new markets, for Canadian agricultural producers. Canadian farmers will benefit overwhelmingly from this agreement. Les agriculteurs canadiens profiteront grandement de cet accord, dans la mesure où nous nous attendons à une perte de part du marché domestique pour des producteurs de fromage. Cette perte devrait être minime et temporaire, et elle fera l'objet de compensation par le gouvernement du Canada. Permettez-moi de profiter de cette occasion pour dire merci aux nombreuses personnes du Canada et de l'Europe qui ont travaillé si longtemps et avec tant de diligence pour faire de cet accord une réalité. President Barroso, let me start with you. Your commitment and your determination to get this deal done has been unwavering. That you have done this while also capably juggling numerous other big challenges and priorities is truly impressive. I vividly recall the day as we set out on this journey at the Canada-EU Summit in 2009. Ce projet que nous avons entamé à Prague serait dorénavant et pour toujours la preuve tangible de notre étroite coopération. Et Monsieur le Président, sans votre leadership, nous n'y serions jamais arrivés. J'aimerais aussi remercier tous les premiers ministres des provinces, sans exception. I want to thank all Canada's premiers for taking an unprecedented and constantly positive place at the table throughout these negotiations. I want to thank Canadian businesses, many of whom are represented here today and who have been unfailingly supportive of this initiative. Of course, I want to thank my colleagues, Ed Fast and Gerald Keddy, for their hard and detailed work on this over a very long period of time. I also want to thank Canada's public service, through its head, Wayne Waters, for its dedication to this over the past 4 years, with special mention to our chief negotiator, Steve Verhoeven. Finally, I want to thank our political staff, something we don't do often enough, in both my office and Minister Fast's office, but allow me to make special mention of Andrea Van Voot. She handled this matter for PMO for the past several years, but recently departed on maternity leave, for which we wish her all the best. Ladies and gentlemen, Canada is a trading nation. Nous avons toujours été une nation commerçante du temps des Autochtones, à l'époque de la traite des fourrures des Français et des Britanniques, qui ont jeté les fondations de notre économie moderne. We have been a trading nation from Aboriginal times to the days of French and British traders who first laid the foundations of our modern economy. Today, 1 in 5 jobs in Canada is tied to trade. Our trade is equivalent to 60% of our gross domestic product. C'est la raison pour laquelle, afin d'assurer la prospérité des familles canadiennes, notre gouvernement a lancé le plan de libre-échange le plus ambitieux de l'histoire canadienne. That's why, to secure the prosperity of Canadian families, our government launched the most ambitious trade program in Canadian history. It is also well known, ladies and gentlemen, that growth in global trade over the past generation has been largely responsible for wealth creation around the world. Comme nous l'avons déclaré en 2009, lorsque nous nous sommes lancés dans cette grande aventure, une entente de cette envergure enverra un signal clair que l'Union européenne et le Canada rejettent le protectionnisme. Mais, Monsieur le Président, je crois que c'est encore plus important que cela. This also reaffirms the long and deep relationship between us and its shared values and commitments, not only to our mutual economic prosperity, but also to freedom, to democracy, and to human dignity for all, things which the European Union and Canada, as confederations of many peoples, strive together for throughout the world. So once again, thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to be with you here today, and thank you for getting this done. Merci beaucoup.
Well done.